Like to see the big guy, the skipper, the head honcho.
Good morning, Captain.
Good morning, Captain.
You're listening to Morning Joe with the CO.
Good morning, Rota, and welcome back to My Voice. Just in case you don't know, I am Christina Brewer from MWR. Some of you guys who have been here a long time may know me as DJ Chick Brew, and I am super lucky today because I am here with the world-famous Teague Suarez and our new, soon-to-be world-famous Charles Chmielak. Did I say that right, sir?
You did. Thank you.
All right. Welcome to the Cup of Joe with the CO. How are you guys doing today?
Good. Doing good. But, well, it's that weird tension between things are going really well. I'm still living in Rota, Spain. But a week from today, I will, right about now, I'll be staring at my chokers, getting ready to put them on for the change command, because a week from today is the change command. And I have to give the best job in the world over to the luckiest guy in the Navy right now, who is just waiting to take the reins, sitting across the table from me.
It's true. I mean, I feel like you have not actually been here that long.
I also feel like that. I remember when I was in this booth for the very first time with Jumbo Baird and watching him have that conversation and me just sitting there with this sleep-deprived blank look on my face like, what did I get myself into? That feels like that was yesterday.
What did you get yourself into?
The best job in the Navy, by far the best captain job in the Navy. So what I got myself into was an incredible cultural, professional, and personal experience. One that let me, or gave me the opportunity to learn about an entirely new part of the world, even though our ties are so close to Western Europe back in the United States. Being immersed in it and seeing where some of those roots, you can see it in the way that Spain operates, but you can also see some of the differences, how we've kind of changed with the pond between us. So getting to know where a lot of our roots come from, getting to know these amazing people, the community here. And then professionally, this base I truly think, the most important strategic Navy base in all of Europe. All you have to do is just from here look about, half a kilometer that way and see two of our most important strategic assets sitting there right now. I think one got underway yesterday. And then you look about a kilometer that way. Sorry, I'm pointing towards the airfield and all the stuff that we are able to support on the airfields. And then the part that we often don't talk too much about, the expeditionary forces, who are able to influence 3 different continents with the work that they do. It's an amazing mission here. What we're able to do here is just absolutely phenomenal. And the personal part of it is I got to watch my kids grow up in Spain, right? And my wife and I had the chance to drag them around the continent to see France and Italy and Switzerland, and they got to visit England and all the parts of Spain and Italy. And I don't know, I mean, thinking about, can't give away too much. Some of this stuff is in my remarks for next week, and I don't know, I got to save
teaser.
Some. Yeah, but thinking about going to Mont Blanc in the wintertime and just standing at the railing with my son, and he is just like on top of the world, both literally and figuratively. And I will never forget stuff like that, and don't have that chance back in the States. And some of the stuff I've had the chance to experience with my daughter, I'm going to save that one for the change of command, but like just stuff I will never ever forget. Watching my kids grow up here is the best thing that I've had the chance to do here. But what I got myself into was the best job in the Navy, far and away. The people that work here, the people that we support, never expected all of this, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Does that give you a big smile?
It does. That energy and that excitement and all of his past tense is now my future. And I have received that same vibe from anyone who has ever been to Rota, and it has made my family excited to be here. Even with the stresses of moving, I think everyone can relate. If you are making a big move, the unknowns and some of that apprehension of what you are unfamiliar with, can sometimes creep in. But when everyone shares their current experiences, and people have reached back who grew up here in the 80s and shared with us that same excitement and joy that they brought out of Rota, and they've carried with them for the rest of their careers and the rest of their lives. So that's what we have to look forward to, and that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I would say that you are in for a treat, for sure. Right. I know we have business to talk about today.
Yeah, we'll get to there eventually. But one thing you mentioned, like people from so far back reaching out about those things, the culture that we have here is it's phenomenal. The people who we have here, they all want to be here. So we have the chance to work with people who are where they want to be, doing the jobs that they want to be. It just makes it so amazing here.
And when you talk to people and they say, like, when I remember when I was going through A school, all of my instructors, I pulled into Rota one time.
Yes.
None of my instructors had ever been stationed here. And I heard all these wonderful stories of, 1 week in Rota. And I was
That's
like,
right.
when it came up on the order.
Or a weekend, or
so
a night.
Fast.
Yes. Yeah.
So fast. My dad was in the Navy back in the day, and he said, "Oh man, we pulled into Rota. Our ship was broke." He's like, it was in my department. He's like, I had 1 day off the ship. He said, I walked out the gate, had the best steak and glass of wine of my life.
Yeah.
And it's all of those memories. And now, like, actually getting to be here, people save up their whole lives to travel to Spain.
Yep.
And we just are so lucky to just find ourselves here.
The Navy pays us to live and work someplace that pretty much all of Northern Europe wants to visit over the summertime.
Right. And
of all the services, the Navy does the best with choosing great locations.
Oh, gosh.
And
which is
having
why I
great duty
chose the
stations.
Navy.
Yeah.
And I have been blessed to have lived in Pensacola and Coronado and Jacksonville and now Rota. And I've spent some time in Hawaii. And so I guess that's a advertisement for all of you who may want to join the Navy, because it is as amazing as it sounds. And those places are as awesome as they look in real life.
All right, you guys ready for some music, and then we'll jump into business?
Yeah, let's kick it off with some music.
Good. That was Taylor Swift with Shake It Off, and we are back with our outgoing CO, Captain Suarez, and our incoming CO, Captain Chmielak. If I say that wrong, please just fix me before I say it at 4th of July. All wrong, okay?
I will.
For the 12 people listening, it's okay, but in front of the entire crowd, I will feel terrible.
So the 4th of July, that's one big thing that you have coming up that's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. We talked a little bit about it last night, but that event, it's huge. It's actually expanding. It took over another softball field. So it was 2 softball fields of some rides, which are terrifyingly fun to watch, and bounce houses, and now we've got a third softball field that we've taken over.
Yeah, I'm
huge,
biggest
event that we have on the installation. And Christina is going to be your MC for all those cool, fun events that we have. And the number of different costumes and looks that you have is impressive, I must say.
You know, I try to change it up. Every year I want you to see something different. My first day in Rota was July 3rd. And Independence Fest used to be on whatever the closest weekend was. So I arrived on July 3rd, got off the rotator in Maroon, bussed over. Someone picked me up at the air terminal with all my luggage. They're like, we're just going to go over and check out this festival. I worked here at AFN, and we used to do live remotes from these things. So I am dead on my feet, dragging a suitcase and a sea bag. And they're like, and this is Independence Fest. And it was not the size that it is now, because we had no ships then. So it was just the installation.
Yeah.
And I was still completely overwhelmed. And so it's really fun now. From the very baby AFN, they dressed me up as the bull that day, and they're like, you don't know what you're doing, so you just be the bull. And I was like, can I just put my suitcases away?
Do both sleep?
And they're like, no, we want to keep you awake so you can come to dinner with us tonight.
That's what we did to you last night, too.
That's right.
To now being the MC. It's just,
I think the words are thank you.
Yeah, you're going to make it. It's going to be fine. And I hope that you'll join me on stage here in just a few weeks.
I think that will happen.
Oh, it will. Captain Suarez avoided it at all costs, but
I did.
But we got him.
I wasn't able to actually avoid it. Yeah.
No, we'll get you.
Yeah, power strong.
But I'm seeing quite the online presence now, so I think you.
Yeah, no, I've embraced my online avatar.
It's just part of it.
It is.
It's part of it. People, and I think that you've done a great job, especially myself, total introvert, believe it or not. After those events, please don't talk to me for 2 days. If you see me at the commissary, wave and keep moving. But for someone who is also probably a little more reserved, you have, from where you started to where you are now, and being the leader of such a small installation, like, I'm old. I am 41, but my mom still looks to the CO of this base to see, like, what is going on. And from our junior sailors, whose parents are definitely tracking with their child being overseas for the first time, they're always looking to that leadership. And especially someone in uniform to say, like, hey, this is what's happening. And whether it's the fun things or the not so fun things,
I've had to do a little bit of both.
You have to do it. And if you follow his example, you'll be great.
Well, I would say the relationship with the public affairs and AFN, you guys have come up with some great ideas for ways to get out there and bring the message to all of our residents here, whether it's the families or the sailors. It's been very helpful in giving me the opportunity to talk to people in different ways, whether it's in person or trying to get something online. But I mean, you'll find all sorts of interesting challenges with that as you roll out new things and stuff that I did that you don't like and stuff I didn't do that you really want to do. I know that PAO is sitting there with probably like a dozen different things that he initially tossed out at me, and I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do that. And he's just waiting for the chance to say, listen, Captain Chmielak, these are some great ideas. That last guy's got no vision. Just
that'll never be
It's been fun.
Well, I do appreciate the role, especially being the nexus of information. And there's a lot of people with a lot of important things to say and a lot of messages to be heard. And I have, or will have, the unique position to make sure that word gets out. So I take that responsibility seriously, and I look forward to it.
And it's fun. It's interesting because when you talk about, like, spreading messages and getting information out, there's so many different generations in this space. Like, some people prefer the newspaper, some people prefer the internet, some people prefer a text message, and taking all of those resources and using them effectively. PAO, super good at it. So definitely listen to him.
Well, we just follow him and you'll get your numbies. I promise you. Anyway, so enough of all that. So I wanted to use this, give you a little bit of time to introduce yourself to everybody, so that as you get up on the dais and you say that you have command of this place, people know what they're getting themselves into.
Thank you. So my name is Charles Chmielak. My call sign is Chimmy. You know, that there's no crazy stories behind it that I would ever share, but, you know, the last name does present some challenges when you see it spelled out, so it just goes by Chimmy is pretty easy, and people find that to be a comfortable call sign. So I was born in a small community south of Chicago called Posen, Illinois, and it was had a nice Polish Catholic upbringing, lots of family and cousins and wonderful family celebrations every year. I went to the Naval Academy from there, and I've had a long and diverse career through different staff and shore tours. Primarily, I'm a pilot. I was a Seahawk pilot, specifically the Fox Hotel model, and for those who don't know, that's carrier-based. And we slowly transitioned to a different type, more of a Black Hawk model. But my career has been helicopter aviation, and I've been fortunate in between those flying tours to have had a tour in Hawaii and a tour in Stuttgart, Germany, and Naval War College in Rhode Island, and all of that combined has been an amazing time for both myself and my family, and we've been able to take advantage of all that travel and see all the great locations that the Navy promised, you know, in the commercial 30 years ago to a young Southside kid who just looked for something bigger than himself. So here I am in Rota. We're super excited. My family will arrive a little later. They've got some family events to attend to, and every day we communicate about the exciting things I'm seeing and how amazing it's going to be for the kids, and even the small things, from the beautiful sandy beaches, which always is a large draw, to the playground near the house and the children that our other service members have that are the same age. And those are the things that we're excited about, to become part of the community. And from the moment we stepped off the plane, I was just amazed and wowed by the beauty of the country and the friendliness of the people, and everything has been positive since we flew into Spanish airspace, is the best way I could say it.
So you mentioned the Polish Catholic upbringing.
Yes.
So I was raised in a Mexican Catholic household. I think that you will find that a lot of the tradition, so Catholicism, this is perhaps the most Catholic place that you'll live in over your lifetime. Southern Spain is incredibly tied to the Catholic faith. And the Catholic faith and the way they practice it here, it's very unique, very different than what you and I probably grew up with. I think that you will find it's really cool to see that. The Armada also maintains very close ties to the Catholic Church. So half the events that you go to, it's going to be a mass,
yes,
where it captures something that happened with the Armada. So it's funny. I can't understand most of what happens in the church, because listening to Spanish in a hollow, ringing church, it's really difficult to hear it all because of all the echoes and everything. But just the rhythm of the Mass, it's the same rhythm as you're going through everything. Right. And it's funny the way that we communicate that.
In our community, in the morning, there was Mass for, the elder Polish population, and it was in Polish. And then we transitioned to a larger Mexican population, and it started, they started to have Masses in Spanish, and carried both of those traditions. And so the adaptability and the traditions that evolve and can carry the same feeling and emotions as you go through each of our lives is pretty amazing. So yes, I've done some YouTubing and watched the festivals.
Some of it's a little bit shocking.
It's deeply emotional, and I can appreciate the just the longevity and the generational family approach, or the participation, right? It's a community event. It's a cultural event. It's all of that tied into one that defines the region and the people, and that's exciting. That carries a lot of weight for the next generation to pick up the mantle and honor those things. And I think we as guests here, as participants of the community now, get to see that and experience it, and that's something that I think is truly special about this place in particular as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Ready for your Queens of the Stone Age, sir?
Yeah, why don't we do some Queens of the Stone Age?
Sounds good. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, and we're back with Captain Suarez and Captain Chmielak. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
just reinforcing.
Just getting more confident in saying that, every time. And if you don't remember, I am Christina Brewer, a.k.a. Chick Brew. So summer is definitely creeping in.
It is, yeah. Last week it certainly felt like summer.
It was a devastator.
Yeah.
This week, much more palatable.
Yes, this is way more comfortable.
And you were talking earlier about a lot of the travel that you've done and a few of your highlights. Yep. But for our new.
Yeah. Oh, some recommendations for some fun stuff to do.
And for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Weekend trips, day trips.
Yeah. So my recommendation is, number one, talk to some of the Spanish employees that we have. Just ask them great places to go. They love their country the same way that we do the States, and they love showing off parts of their country that maybe they're a little bit off the beaten path, but we started kind of local. We kept kind of striking out here in southern Spain. There's, like we talked about Cadiz yesterday, going over to Cadiz, seeing that amazing old city. It's just cool. It's a beautiful place to go. The juxtaposition between the giant cruise ships on one side, you kind of cross over and you got this really old, massive cathedral that is right by these Roman amphitheater ruins. It's just cool. And then they got lots of good food over there. Go to Sanlúcar. Sanlúcar is actually where the Round the World expedition left from Magellan. And I remember walking down this alleyway, and there's this placard above a bookstore. It said, in 1497, Christopher Columbus, before his third trip to the New World, stopped in here and bought a book by Marco Polo. I'm like, that's cool. That's so cool. There's also another plaque underneath there that talks about a murder that took place, so there's this air of mystery about it, too. But Sanlúcar is also a gastronomical center of gravity here, so the food they have there
That's exciting.
is great. Tortillas de camarones. If We hadn't heard about that before we went to this restaurant. We bought it on a whim, and it is probably our favorite food here. They're these little wafer-thin, like fried mini shrimp, excuse me, and they're absolutely amazing. Wonderful. The thinner and the crispier, the better they are. And Sanlúcar is known for making those things. Of course, you got to see Madrid, you got to see Barcelona, the big cities. But I think you'll see as you go to different parts of Spain that it's just everywhere is very different. And a lot of it is just like how far the Moorish influence made it. So here in southern Spain, you're going to see a lot of the Moorish influence in some of the history, a lot of the architecture. But then you go up to northern Spain, and it's completely different architecture because it's more influenced by folks from the north and coming in from France.
Have you found it easy to do a great Spanish road trip in the traditions of driving the car, or have you found other means of transportation?
I think the only road trip we really did was over to Malaga, which I also recommend around the holidays because they have this really cool light show. Everywhere has cool light shows, but Malaga's was pretty special to us. Trains are fantastic. We've taken the train up to Madrid a bunch of times. You can fly almost anywhere. We've driven up to Porto in Portugal, and that was really cool too. It's about 6-7 hours.
It seems highly accessible even through the phone now. In the States, absolutely. I can map out a journey and it tells you the trains and the high-speed trains, and things are very connected.
It is. It's a easy place to launch from here to almost anywhere. We have the budget airlines that fly out of both Jerez and Sevilla that can take you almost everywhere. It's been a lot of fun. But as you guys saw that you were coming this way, what were you most excited about going to visit?
First, we were excited about just coming to Rota, especially when you see the long beaches, and that's something that beautiful. I know my wife loves the beach, and she loves to surf and to be outdoors, and the children have come to truly enjoy the water, and they do swimming, and they love the beach activities as well. But as a architecture fan and a history a fan, or I majored in history in college. There's so much here, and you're talking layers of civilization and continuous continuous presence of people in the same location. Just all that cultural building on top of each other, and the beautiful pictures, right? I mean, those things, the historic sites that grace the covers of magazines and commercials and show up in movies, and it's all within a few hours of here, and that's something that I have my eyes set on, especially in the first couple months, at least to get a few of those major sites done. But when we lived in Germany, we were able to drive or fly through that region, but that's quite a ways away from southern Spain. So we're able to see the continent now from a new location, a new perspective, and I feel really fortunate to be able to do that because it just makes it so much easier. And I've heard the advice from everyone, do not leave here without having traveled and taken full advantage of the opportunity, because you'll never be able to do it easier.
Yeah.
You can always recreate the Halle Berry coming out of the water scene right here in Puerto.
Oh.
You'll see that if you watch the James Bond.
Yes.
That's the beach. Oh. That's the beach right there.
I didn't know that.
Okay, new item on the bucket list.
Yeah, most definitely. Probably one of my favorite pictures. I look like a drowned rat, but nailed it.
Yeah.
Also, have you done the Puerto Castle?
No.
Oh, you should do it before you go if you can. I know it's packed.
Yeah.
But originally was a mosque, but has pillars dating back to like 1 BC. And it's not, being in Spain is beautiful. For the reason that it's not like everywhere else, in the sense that you can touch things here. Right? Like, I went and did that tour, and, in America, they'd be like, don't touch it. They're like, nah, you can touch it. So you just smack it, because it's been there that long. Right? It's not going to crumble.
You're not going to hurt it.
You can't hurt it. It's been there longer than all of us. So that's always really fascinating. If you go to some of the bodegas, they have, it's a family bodega, but they're like, oh yeah, just famous works of art. Yeah, just take a picture. We don't care.
Right.
We can't even go to a museum and be like,
yeah, that's...
it's a dolly.
I think the idea of old here in
very different.
It's defined differently than the United States. We have a 50-year-old building, and they're like, oh, that's we have a 500-year-old building. It's like brand new practically.
Yeah, that's an infant.
It's a line from one of my favorite songs. It just says, "Sit on a park bench that's older than my country."
Right.
And there's so many places around here where you just see something that just happens to be older than the United States. And
the propensity to not just tear things down and to build upon that and to incorporate the old with the new, and it just makes it just blends the exotic with the modern, and it's done so well.
So surfing, you mentioned surfing. There's a couple of people on the staff who are big surfers, so they'll be able to give you some recommendations for places. Good. Just about half an hour to an hour away, you can get the varying levels of waves. Do you know about Nazaré?
I do not.
Portugal? So
as you can imagine, there's not a lot of surfing in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So, the surfboards have been on the shelf, and
well, I would not recommend surfing in Nazaré. That's where they have the 100-foot waves.
Right.
The world
That's
famous ones.
A little beyond my 1 to 2 to 3 foot.
Yeah, we made the trip one time, and you can see where the waves would be, but we saw like 3-foot waves. It was really anticlimactic. But if you guys have the chance in the fall, going into wintertime, that's when the big waves will hit.
Certainly something exciting to see.
That would be really cool to see.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to surf, but 1, no one will teach me because I'm insufferable, and 2, it's probably better that I stay on the shore.
I think I've tried surfing 3 times. I mean, I didn't even do it when I was in Hawaii. I lived in Hawaii, and I never learned how to surf.
Avid boogie boarder.
Yeah. We were fortunate to live on Waikiki Beach, so I know, I'm sure there's some surfers out there who'll say it doesn't count, but I certainly, the long rolling waves were something that I could do. My wife's a little more aggressive on the waves, and so I think she's looking forward to, the beaches here and the opportunities.
So there's a place just down the coast. It's famous for tuna as well, but it's really close to a famous surf spot. It is just a surf town. When you get down there, it'll be dead in the wintertime. In the summertime, all the campers and everything shows up there. But there are some cool places to go surfing not too far from here.
That's good. I'll share that.
Have you ever done the windsurfing?
No.
No, yeah.
No, so going to Tarifa and seeing all of them there because when you go to Tarifa, that's one of the places you can look across the water and actually see Africa, but all the winds are funneled through the Straits of Gibraltar, so it's famous for all of its windsurfing. I'll just see them floating all over the place.
Even in my younger days, I thought, maybe next lifetime.
Yeah. No, I like having a whole thing strapped around me when I'm in the air, so having just something above me like that is terrifying.
I feel like I want to try it once.
Let me know how it goes.
Every year I have to do one thing that I'm afraid of doing. I have to be super uncomfortable at least once a year. So
I would say hold a spider. That's not going to break your ribs. And
I went parapenting in Mexico.
What's
Yeah, when you just run off the top of a mountain. But the scariest part was the van going up, and the idea and thought of not doing it and taking the van back down. Way scarier than running off the top of a mountain. All right, we're going to play a little bit more music. We'll come back. We'll chit-chat a little more. We've got Miles Smith with Stargazing. That was Stargazing by Miles Smith. This is Christina Brewer, a.k.a. Chick Brew, and we are back with Captain Suarez and Captain Chmielak.
So I'm going to say before we hop into this, I got a note from my wife. Our daughter just told Lee that she should try holding a spider. So
there you go.
Thanks for that one. I'm going to hear a lot about that one.
So it's all about improving yourself every day.
I will say, I don't know how holding a spider improves me.
It's just...
I just love that you rolled in with solid advice. Day one from the jump, everyone in Rota, congratulations. This is what we have to look forward to. Hold the spider.
Yeah, we're gonna have something taped underneath everybody's chair at the change command. You have to reach underneath there and hope it's not a spider.
Is it a spider?
Yeah.
Is it alive?
Yeah.
That might be more terrifying.
Larger is sometimes not more scary. It could be a small spider.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up around black widows and brown recluses. I did not hold those.
I have 2 scars for brown recluses in Texas. I worked at a summer camp. I'm not built for survival.
Well, you survived the brown recluses.
Because we had 2 nurses on camp.
Okay.
Because
we lived in a home that was on the outside infested with black widows and brown widows. I have come to learn there's a crossbreed of sorts, and it's the color, and then they still have the hourglass shape, and they were along the rafters, and they eventually renovated the home, and I think that's probably how they got rid of it. But it became normal to just lift something up And something that is so viscerally scary growing up, and then to just become commonplace. It's just part of, oh, hello, Mr. Spider.
My first time with a Black Widow spider was in Memphis, Tennessee in 2010. I don't know if you were around there then, but there was really terrible storms that year. Like the Mississippi River flowed backwards, and we were working Beale Street Music Festival, and it's right on the river. So they had moved all the trucks in, but the river's getting higher, and all of the spiders had seen our beautiful tent that we had constructed, and they moved in one night while we were in our hotel. Yes. And the next day we come back, and it was terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't know how you lived in a house like that.
I just remember wood piles. Like, as I was growing up, grabbing in, pulling stuff out of wood piles, and one of the Black Widows crawling on my hand, and just like screaming. I'm just like,
I think we respected each other's space. They had the outside, we had the inside. The only truly scary moment, not scary as in I'm personally terrified, but a thought-provoking moment in time is we had moved to the new duty station, and we opened the closet, and we had one tag-along, and a Black Widow had created its web in the center of the closet.
Nice.
Just as a final reminder that I guess they're always watching.
Always watching. There's some good spiders here, and by good I mean you can see them. I just watched one capture a wasp in my yard.
Oh, yes. Cool.
It was cool. I have a video, sir. I'll show you later.
Yeah.
I'm a man of nature. They have an important role in the ecosystem.
They do. That's what I keep telling everybody when my wife tells me to go kill the spider.
Right.
I'm like, but that's killing bugs for us.
It is. However, there's a balance, right?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
I respect you and I love you, but sometimes you just gotta go.
Yeah, my self-preservation's higher than that for the spider, right. So I wouldn't survive if I kept telling him, no, I'm not going to kill the spider for you.
No, the manager of my home will remove them from the house, which is fine. I don't mind that they're outside, but I have 2 dogs that are not that bright, and one that likes to put everything in his mouth, so I'm just afraid that he's going to eat one.
Again, see another valuable lesson this morning, the importance of communication.
Everyone, just like in the ecosystem of life, every bug has its thing. In our house, every person has their job. I make the food, manager of the house gets the spiders out. Crucial.
Sounds a lot like our house, too. I'm tasked with all those fun jobs. So you mentioned you're a history major. You mentioned you have a degree in history. The previous XO and I had this ongoing conversation about the best degrees or best source of education for people who are in leadership roles.
Interesting.
And he and I think we agree on this one, that the fine arts are perhaps the best degree for people in positions of leadership. He said that if you got a degree in English with a minor in theater, it is the best foundation for people in a position of leadership because you can communicate, and so you can, the written word, the way that you put your ideas together as someone with a degree in English is important, and then the theater part is being able to present it to people.
I took miming in college.
Miming?
Yeah, like it's a whole class, super fun, loved it.
Yeah.
Stage combat?
So,
nailed it.
That might be my next Skipper Spotlight. I'm just going to do it totally in mime. No, I'm not going to.
I can teach you.
No.
Leading in silence, right? Important attributes. Yep. Well, I think those people gravitate towards leadership positions because you do speak and you get to be active and you're interested in events and influencing events or nurturing them. So I think I've met obviously a lot of leaders have strong technical backgrounds and do just as exceptionally well, and but I think I have personally appreciated the degree and all the things that it opened the doors to learn, right? Because it's just begins the learning process. And I've been able to draw on that everywhere I go and find a deeper appreciation for the locations I've been because I know a little bit more about it than another Starbucks and a McDonald's and, things, the creature comforts in life that we grew up with. And you say, you can then look at who lived here first, who lived here before us, what did we inherit? What are we exploring today? What influences the culture that you're now participating in? It's fascinating to me.
It is, and one thing about the culture here, I've said a couple of times, and I think that France may take umbrage with it, but that our oldest friends are the Spanish. So they were our friends before we existed as a country, helping us as part of the Revolutionary War. And I love the fact that we're back in a place reestablishing those ties, or not reestablishing, but strengthening the ties that we already have here in Rota, knowing how far back that history goes. I think it's really cool.
Well, I think it's something we overlook in the States, how strong of an influence that and how much of a presence throughout the country, right? Southwest the United States.
Coming up through the Central and South America.
Some people are surprised that Los Angeles is not an English term.
or San Diego or Santa Clara or any of that, Santa Fe.
Yeah, fascinating. We made the small joke. I said, "Wow, San Diego looks a lot like Spain." Yes, it does. There's a reason for that. So
Spanish-style homes all over America.
All over.
Yeah, and all the missions. I remember the missions along the West Coast.
The mission trail.
Yep.
Well, and Pensacola, Florida. Some of America's old. I say America. Some of the cities in the United States, the oldest cities in the United States, right, are Spanish.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, with St. Augustine, right? St. Augustine is the oldest establishment in
just south. But visited many times. It's a wonderful city.
You guys ready for some more music?
Yeah, we can do one more song before we
All right. Well, we don't
wrap
want
it
to
up.
say goodbye too soon. That was Taylor Swift with Karma, and that was a clean version. I didn't realize there was an option there.
Thank goodness, because the not clean version, which I enjoy more, is probably not appropriate. Yeah.
Oh, there is. So we're going to have to talk about that offline.
Yeah.
Because now I have questions. Well, unfortunately, we're coming to the end of the show.
We are.
Which means we got to talk. We got to talk the talk.
Yeah.
It's business time.
Business time. All right. So we'll run through a couple things that are important for the folks out there. Number one, the gas station is going to be closed Friday for maintenance. They've got signs posted throughout the gas station, but just a heads up, probably gas up today if you think you need gas for the weekend. We have the change command on Thursday the 12th, which means we're going to change the traffic flow in front of Building 1 and by housing just to block things off so we can start setting up for that one. We've got the half marathon, the El Puerto de Santa Maria half marathon Saturday. So that will have some impact to traffic. Just be patient. If you see a bunch of runners and there's people asking you to slow down, just slow down. Let those people get through their 13.1 miles and to celebrate the chance that we have the chance to host those kinds of things on the installation. I think that's really cool. You don't see a lot of that back in the States where a community starts this big run or a triathlon or something that comes right through the base. It's really cool. And then in a couple of weeks, there's a 1 degree of separation show. We're going to start to see more about this one over the next couple of weeks. It is a show that talks through mental health and suicide prevention, but the way that they present it is far more engaging. It is something that I think will have the chance to reach out and find some resonance within some of the folks in the audience. We're going to try and get as many people there as possible, so keep your eyes open for that one, please, and come out and join us for that event. All right, so I think that's the formal stuff, right? And now I got to do the hard stuff.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so, this is my last show. So I've got a week here. So to everybody who's listening out there, I want to say thank you. This was, well, first of all, thank you to the important stuff that the Navy asked us to do, right? And so I don't do a whole lot as the installation CO. I sit in my office and I make decrees and say, let's make sure this happens, this happens, this happens. But there are incredible people throughout this installation who do amazing work every single day. And I think that Rota is the most important strategic naval base in Europe because all of the leadership throughout this theater understand just how capable the people here are. Whether that is ensuring that the ships get underway every time, and when those ships get underway, that they're able to execute their mission every time, and they are. Whether it is absorbing an influx of people or equipment on the airfield because of the partnership we have with the 521st. They meet that mission every time, whether it's flowing through ammunition or ordnance or parts or vehicles, wherever it's coming from, we meet the mission every time. Or it is just simply supporting the community so that the families and kids and all of our dependents are taken care of so that when the sailors and airmen and Marines go do those hard jobs, they're able to focus on their hard jobs because They know that everybody's safe back here because of what MWR does, or because of what Fleet and Family does, or because of they know the commissary and the exchange are stocked, or they know that security is going to make sure that they're safe. Every one of those are critical to being able to execute the mission here. And this place is amazing at it. And I've been incredibly lucky to have the chance to work with the people that I had the chance to work with. So thank you to everybody for just being so good at their jobs and making sure that we are able to execute our mission every time. And then on a personal note, thank you to the community here on the installation. If anybody off the installation's listening, to the communities of specifically Rota and Puerto de Santa Maria for just embracing all of us as part of their community. And every time I stepped off the installation, it was safe, it was fun, it was welcoming. Absolutely amazing 3 years here. And Chimmy, I hope that you enjoyed as much as we have, that you have as much fun, that you find the challenges as rewarding as we did, and that when you leave in a couple of years, it's as hard for you as it is for me.
Thank you. I think everyone thanks you for all the hard work you've done and keeping focus on the mission, because without the mission, that is the purpose here. And I think that's always been your forefront of your work. And I have big shoes to fill. So
they're like 8.5. They're not that big.
All right. Unfortunately, that is going to do it for our show today. Thank you so much, Captain Suarez, and welcome aboard, Captain Chmielak. Look forward to seeing you guys around the installation in the next few days.
Christina, thank you for doing this one last time with me. I loved it.